This is my reflection in the rain on how our feelings get hurt. Previously, I've shared that our feelings are up to us. They're a combination of our thoughts, our experiences that happened in the past, as well as things that are happening in the present. So our interactions with other people contribute to what we feel in the moment, but they can also be just the surface of a big underlying feeling. They can poke a wound we have from the past. However, there are feelings that happen just due to injustice, that we're continually treated wrong or unfair, that the earth isn't taken care of, that there's racism, sexism, especially when we continue to educate others on the needs for equality and the needs for help, and people don't listen. Then our feelings seem justified, and perhaps they are. It becomes more and more complicated when patterns of hurt and harm are perpetrated, even in the face of talking about the effects of them. So, why do spiritual teachers sometimes say that our feelings are invisible or not real or something to overcome? In both my yoga and Sufi tradition, the goal of the spiritual aspirant is to ignore the insults of others, to let go of personal attachment to pride, ego, to not feel hurt by other people. I think this is really advanced, worth practicing, but also can lead to repression if we're not honest about our own mind's capabilities. If my ego truly wants to feel respected and is hurt, and I try to ignore that feeling, I'm repressing my anger, my frustration, my need to be heard, to be included, to be considered. But Swami Shivananda says that the highest sadhana or spiritual practice is to bear insult and to bear injury, like Gandhi, like Martin Luther King, to continue in the face of horrible insults and not being seen. And maybe we are called to continue to work for justice and peace. Maybe we are called to continue to serve our community or our family or our job or vocation, even enduring great pain. And maybe we're not. Hazrat Inayat Khan, a great Sufi master, also teaches that we don't take things personally. We see that other people's words and actions come out of them and aren't directly toward us or meant to hurt us, that we can take on our end to be as patient as possible, to be as kind as possible, to endure as much as possible. And in this way, we further educate, we liberate the other person and ourselves. That if we can continue to see the source of ill will, to see the source rooted in pain, that will go a long way. However, there's a time we need to speak up. We need to ask to be included, for our needs to be known. We need to verbalize what it is that we think and feel and see. So in yoga, there's selfless service, karma yoga, that we continually serve and give others, to try to work away from our own ego selfishness. And in Sufism, there's also this idea of loving someone else, even through whatever error or meanness we may perceive them to be in. And this can be hard. It's a big dance. I certainly try, and I haven't mastered it. Of course, I'm not enlightened. And so for those of us who aren't spiritually evolved to a state of mastership or mastery, and yet are on the path that we hope and seek to live and walk in the ways of the prophets and the mystics. How do we do this? How do we suss out what's our own wounds and feelings and what's caused by others? How do we stay in the game when we're sick and tired of being treated how others treat us? What can be our foundation, our roots? For those of us who are on a spiritual path toward this higher level of kindness and understanding, the teachers also give us practices, prescriptions, mantras, chanting, asana, singing, praying. They tell us to ground ourselves in nature, in water, in leaves, in soil, in sky, to continually flush our mind with pure energy, to continually realign ourselves with the higher power, to continually ground ourselves. In this way, we can do the best we can. And all I'm doing right now is trying to admit when I'm no longer patient or kind, when I'm being judgmental, when I'm falling short of my highest ideal, when I can no longer serve because I feel like I'm being walked upon, when I can no longer listen to somebody else because I demand to be heard. Sometimes I think it's out of justice and fairness, and sometimes it might be my own ego. And I'm not sure when I'm working for harmony and balance and when I'm just putting myself forward. To be honest, sometimes I just don't know. But I believe that we can keep trying to figure it out, to be forgiving, and to let go, and to keep recentering. Let me know what you're trying for and how you see it.